Greetings, guys. Welcome to the Wealth for Real Facebook page, going live here on Tuesday night, December 5th, 2023. Quick story that I wanted to relay to you guys that I picked up from reading the book Chaos Kings by Scott Patterson. I've actually been talking a lot about that book over the last 15 to 30 days, which is about back when I started it. Just for real quick background, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, Scott Patterson's a Wall Street Journal reporter. He wrote a book mainly focused on three individuals: Nassim Taleb, author of The Black Swan, and other wonderful books. His sort of right-hand guy, Mark Spitznagel, who runs the Universa hedge fund based in Miami, essentially implements the Black Swan protection protocol. And another individual, a French physicist by the name of Didier Sornet, who kind of took issue or umbrage with the Black Swan concept and contended that Black Swans were actually predictable, and he called them Dragon Kings. So those three guys are heavily profiled amongst some other people, but the main premise of the book is talking about how these individuals and others use different financial instruments, strategies, etc., to produce outsized gains when everybody else is losing. Okay, basically, making tremendous gains. I mean, just off the charts type of gains when, let's say, the market's crashing or things are going down, or whatnot. These guys are going the other way because they bought insurance against it, essentially. So that's kind of the very broad premise of the book. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot because I'm enjoying it so much. So this isn't going to be the last post about it. But one of the chapters that I just finished, I just had to talk to you guys about it here. And that was a chapter talking about the California Pension Retirement Fund, or CalPERS, C lowercase a-l and then capital P-E-R-S. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I'm like 98% sure that's exactly how it was spelled and pronounced and everything. But anyway, so CalPERS, this massive retirement pension fund that I believe, if I understood correctly from the book, handles like all of like California workers who happen to be part of that program. Maybe it's also other workers in that general region on the West Coast. I don't know exactly, but I do know that it has something to do with California, and obviously it's a pension and retirement fund that has, just a tremendous amount of money under management. And so what was interesting about the story with them was that in, I believe, like the 2016 to 18 time frame, CalPERS signed on with Universa and requested that Universa implement the Black Swan protection protocol for the retirement fund, the pension fund. And, they had a few different people on their end who were negotiating, like with Spitznagel and other Universa operatives. And basically, like, they were fully in on it. I forget the name of the chief investment officer from CalPERS. It was a French lady, I think, who kind of signed off on that. And then there was a couple guys in the chain of command with her who also agreed to it and were excited about it. And they believed in it. And what was so fascinating is that in like the 2019 time frame, there was another guy at CalPERS who was like maneuvering behind the scenes to like gain more power or like take over the chief investment officer position, something like that. I may have it a little bit off, but the bottom line is there was a guy in there with some nefarious intentions and essentially got the CIO to resign or got her fired, the lady I mentioned a moment ago. And when he took over in 2019, he told Spitznagel and Universa to unwind the Universa positions, the Black Swan positions. And, he basically was like, look, this is too expensive. We're losing money every month. It's not worth it. Even if we do get a big crash or something, it's not going to be worth what we're bleeding out every month buying these put options on the S&P and all that stuff. And so it's really, really fascinating to know that this guy, had done this. Now, of course, the way he did it was pretty scurrilous, but, according to the book. But, the bottom line is he had sort of like the traditional complaint about the Black Swan protection protocol, that it was just too many losses too often. Even if they were little losses, They just added up and compounded over time, and essentially left the fund with too much risk that they weren't going to get paid out big enough if there was a crash or some kind of event to cover all those losses. And Universa and Spitznagel like pushed back, and they tried to talk him out of it and this whole thing. And the guy was like, no. I mean, his name, by the way, was like Ben Meng, M-E-N-G. So Meng was like, no, you got to unwind the positions. We're not sticking with you. So by January 2020, CalPERS was unwound from the Black Swan hedging protocol with Universa. And 2 months later, guys, March 2020, when the market absolutely plummeted on, I believe, its lowest point in March, pretty sure about this, was Monday, March 16th, 2020, and plunged about 13%. The Dow, I think, went down 13% on that Monday the 16th. There were other bad days. I mean, there was a lot of bad days that month, knowing what was happening. If you recall, the whole thing was declared a pandemic on the 11th of March. I believe that was like a Thursday, 12, 34, or a Wednesday. It was like Wednesday, I think, the 11th. And then, and then, by that weekend, pretty much everybody was in a panic about something or other in terms of how they were going to respond to the pandemic. And on Monday the 16th, you had that big drop on the Dow. So anyway, the bottom line is Universa bagged on its Black Swan positions, not on its total funds under management, which would be a totally different number, 4,400%. And actually, Patterson gives the exact number in the book. I think it was like 4,416 or something. But absolutely exploded. With these options that they had for the Black Swan protocol. And of course, CalPERS missed out on it. They missed out on it by about 2 months. And I think, I forget what Patterson estimates, but their loss, their unrealized loss, from not being in the protection protocol was somewhere in the low billions of dollars or something like that. It was just unbelievable how much money they missed out on by unwinding these Black Swan positions. Going into the teeth of the storm with COVID in March of 2020. And the epilogue to the story that I recently finished reading, maybe more to the story than this, but because I'm not done with the book, but the most recent part of the book that I read about this particular event is that a member of the CalPERS board was like, hey, I want to see why we unwound these positions. I think they were doing a full review of all the investments because of the total bloodbath that had gone on in 2020. And CalPERS had some hedging strategies in place. They had treasury bonds, they had gold, they had stuff, but they didn't have the Universa protocol anymore. They favored these other strategies more than Universa and just felt like they should overweight those other strategies. So bottom line is, a board member from CalPERS is like, hey, I want to look at this whole thing and I want to know specifically why we unwound Universa. And of course, by the time they finished that review, Ben Meng had resigned from CalPERS, and that was the end of him. I think he resigned, it said, in August of 2020. So yeah, guys, I mean, just really, really fascinating stuff. I give so much credit to Patterson for, number one, an entertaining writing style. I really enjoy reading the way he writes the story. But number two, he's peeling back a couple onion layers on a topic that I haven't seen elsewhere. I've never read so much or seen so much in one place about Spitznagel and Universa and how he hooked up with Taleb and why they do what they do and how they do it and all this kind of stuff. So really, it's been a really fun book to read, both from the writing style and from the topic that I just had previously not seen anybody get into this level of detail about. So if you guys are interested in that CalPERS story, you could probably look that up on its own, or you could pick up the book by Patterson, which, like I said, is outstanding. So anyway, hope everybody's having a great Tuesday night. Hope to be back with you guys again soon. And thank you, as always, for tuning in and watching, guys. Until next time, I appreciate you guys checking out the Facebook page. Thanks, guys. Have a good